The silence on Seth's sun was barely rising over the studio lot when Keanu Reeves arrived. He walked quietly, as he always did, nodding to the crew and smiling at the camera assistant who was struggling to carry too many light stands. He offered to help, and she blushed. "You're Keanu Reeves," she whispered, as if realizing it for the first time. Keanu only smiled. "And you're working hard. It matters more right now." This was his first day back on set after a short break. The film was a passion project, a deep, emotional story about loss, love, and forgiveness. He had agreed to it only because Ana de Armas was playing the other lead. Their chemistry on screen was unmatched. More than just co-stars, they had become close friends, even confidants. He trusted her instincts. She respected his presence. Together, they made scenes feel real, raw, and alive. As Keanu walked onto the main stage, something felt off. The lights were set, the camera was ready, and the crew stood in place. But there was no sign of Ana. He turned to the assistant director. "Where's Ana?" His voice was calm but firm. The assistant looked uncomfortable, shifting his clipboard. From one hand to the other, they made a change this morning. Studio wanted someone else. Younger, with a bigger following online. They said it's just business. Keanu's eyes didn't flinch. "Who's they?" The assistant lowered his voice. "Producers, executives. They said Ana wasn't connecting with the audience the way they expected. They flew in someone overnight. Her name's Lila. She's waiting in wardrobe." For a few long seconds, Keanu said nothing. The silence felt heavy. Even the sound guy stopped adjusting his mic. The air had changed. Everyone was watching. Finally, Keanu took a deep breath. "Did you talk to Ana?" he asked. "They told me not to," the assistant replied. "She doesn't know yet." Keanu turned away from the set. He walked toward the studio office without saying another word. Every step he took was measured, deliberate. His jaw was clenched, his shoulders tight. He wasn't just upset. He was hurt. Ana had poured herself into this role. They both had. She stayed late every night, rehearsing lines, exploring the emotions of her character. She had even rewritten part of the script to add more depth to a key scene. And now they were replacing her like she was nothing. Keanu knocked on the office door once, hard. Then he opened it and stepped inside. 3 producers were sitting around a table, sipping coffee and checking their phones. They looked up in surprise. "Keanu," one of them said with forced cheer. "We didn't expect you here so early." "Why was Ana replaced?" Keanu asked, his voice low and controlled. The oldest producer leaned back in his chair. "We appreciate your concern, but we made a decision to bring in someone new. It's about appeal. Leela has a huge social media presence. We believe she'll bring more attention to the project. Ana is the reason I signed on to this film," Keanu said slowly. "She's out, I'm out too." The room went still. "Don't be hasty," another producer said. "This is a multi-million-dollar film. Your name sells. You can't risk this over something small." Keanu stepped forward. "Nana is not something small. She's the soul of this story." "You made a mistake, you're walking away?" Producer asked, stunned. "No," Keanu said. "You're pushing me away." He walked out of the room before they could say anything else. Back on set, people were whispering. Word had spread fast. Keanu Reeves was refusing to act. And the reason? Loyalty? Respect? Kindness? Meanwhile, Ana sat in her trailer, unaware of the storm building outside. She was reading her script, making notes, sipping tea. Her phone buzzed with a message from Keanu. "Don't go anywhere. We need to talk." Now she stepped out and walked toward the soundstage. She could feel eyes on her, but she didn't understand why. When she reached Keanu, his face softened. "Ana," he said gently, "they tried to replace you." Her eyebrows lifted. "What do you mean?" He explained everything. How the producers brought someone else in, how they didn't even tell her, and how he refused to let it happen. Ana stood still for a long moment, the shock slowly turning into sadness. I didn't think I was doing badly." "You weren't," Keanu said. "You were brilliant. This film doesn't work without you." I told them that. Now they have a choice. You stay, or I walk. Tears welled up in Anna's eyes. Not because she was afraid of losing the role, but because someone had finally stood up for her. Not for fame, not for profit, just because it was the right thing to do. The producers called an emergency meeting. Agents got involved. The press somehow caught wind and rumors began swirling. Keanu Reeves walks off set in protest. Armas replaced without warning. A-list loyalty shakes Hollywood. Inside the meeting room, tempers flared. Lawyers were called. But in the end, the decision came down to one thing. Would they risk losing Keanu over a casting choice? By sundown, the producers walked onto the set. They asked everyone to gather. Keanu stood beside Anna, his expression calm but resolute. We've decided to move forward with the original cast, the head producer announced. Ana de Armas will continue in her role. We want to thank everyone for their patience. A quiet cheer went through the crew. Some clapped softly. The makeup artist wiped away a tear. The director nodded at Keanu with silent gratitude. Later, that night, Anna sat beside Keanu on the edge of the lot, legs swinging off a wooden bench. The stars were just beginning to peek through the sky. "Why did you do it?" she asked him. Keanu looked up at the sky, thoughtful. "Because this story deserves honesty, and so do you." Anna leaned her head on his shoulder, and for a while, they said nothing. But in that silence, something deeper grew. A bond not built on contracts or fame, but on truth, on friendship, and on the quiet strength of standing by someone when no one else does. And somewhere inside both of them, they knew this story had only just begun. The shadow behind the spotlight morning after the protest, the studio was unusually quiet. The kind of quiet that felt nervous, not peaceful, not calm, more like the hush before a storm. Some crew members whispered in corners, avoiding eye contact. Others smiled awkwardly at Keanu and Anna, unsure what to say. They had all seen something rare the day before, an actor with power using it for someone else. It left a mark. Keanu arrived early again, but this time he didn't head to his trailer. Instead, he walked straight to the craft table, where Anna was already sitting with a cup of black coffee, her script open in front of her. "You sleep at all?" he asked, picking up a piece of toast. "Not much," Anna said with a tired smile. "I kept thinking about everything. It doesn't feel real." "It is," Keanu said, sitting beside her, "and it's not over." She looked at him. "You think they'll try something again?" "Maybe not openly," he said. But when? Power feels threatened. It doesn't back down quietly. Anna nodded. Part of her wanted to believe everything was fine now, but deep down, she knew he was right. Hollywood had its way silent ways. If they couldn't remove her in the light, they might try in the dark. Later that day, they began filming a heavy emotional scene. Anna's character had just lost her brother in the story. A script called for her to break down in a hospital hallway. Cameras rolled, lights dimmed. And when the director shouted action, Anna transformed. Her hands trembled, her eyes filled with tears. She fell to the floor in heartbreak, whispering the lines with so much pain it made the crew freeze. But just as the scene reached its peak, someone shouted from the back, "Cut! Cut! We can't use this." Everyone turned. It was one of the associate producers. He walked onto the set, waving a phone in his hand. "We've got a problem," he said. "Someone leaked this morning's script on social media. It's out there." The director looked stunned. "What are you talking about?" "Just saw it on Twitter," the producer said. 2 full pages. The hospital scene, exact dialogue. Keanu narrowed his eyes. "How would that even happen?" The producer shrugged. "I don't know, maybe someone careless. Or maybe someone ... emotional." He didn't say her name. But his eyes shifted to Anna. The room went cold. Anna's hands clenched around the edges of her chair. "You think I leaked it?" The producer didn't answer directly. "You just need to investigate." Keanu said firmly, "You're pointing fingers without proof." "We have to take precautions," the producer replied. "Till we figure it out, maybe Anna should step away from set." Anna stood slowly. Her voice was calm, but shaky. "I didn't leak anything. I love this script. I wouldn't ruin it. Keanu looked at the director. Do you believe this? The director hesitated. I don't want to, but the producers are getting pressure. They think this is a pattern. What? Pattern? Keanu snapped. They said Anna's too emotionally involved. They think she's unstable. Anna blinked. That word hit her harder than anything else had. Unstable. A label. A weapon. Soft on the surface, sharp underneath. If you really think I'm the problem, she whispered, I'll walk. Oh, but... Keanu stepped in front of her. No. You're not going anywhere. He turned to the crew. Someone is trying to push her out again. I won't let it happen. We already made a stand. Now we either stay true to that, or we let them win from the shadows. The room was quiet again, and the makeup artist stepped forward. Was near the printer this morning? Lila's assistant printed copies of the script, more than 5. One of them was missing. Another crew member added, Lila was taking selfies on set yesterday. Costume. Maybe that's how the script got online. The truth began to unfold like scattered puzzle pieces finally falling into place. Whispers turned into voices. The voices made one thing clear. Someone had set Anna up. By the end of the hour, it was confirmed. The leak had come from Lila's. Camper assistant had accidentally sent the wrong file to a group chat, and someone in that chat had posted it. Producers were forced to apologize again. Anna sat outside the soundstage, the sun warm on her skin. Keanu joined her, carrying 2 bottles of water. You okay? He asked. She nodded slowly. I will be. You handled that better than most people would, he said. I almost left, she admitted. I really thought I had ruined everything. I tried to make you believe that, Keanu said. But the truth has a way of finding light. She looked at him. You keep standing up for me? Why? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he opened his water, took a sip, and then looked her straight in the eye. Because I've seen this. Town destroy people for less, he said. I've also seen people survive it. When someone stood beside them. Yeah, I didn't say anything. Her eyes shimmered, but this time was something different. Not sadness, not fear, but gratitude. Deep, silent gratitude. Over the next few days, something changed on set. Not in the script, not in the budget, but in the air. The people treated Anna differently. Not like a star, not like someone to watch, but like someone to believe in. She earned their respect not because she fought back, but because she stayed true. Keanu and Anna's scenes grew even stronger. The connection was real, raw, powerful. The director pulled them aside one evening and said, You two are creating magic. This is more than acting. This is art. But not everyone was happy. Lila had been sent back, but one of her agents stayed. Behind, a slick, well-dressed man named Thomas, who had contacts in every studio. He started spreading rumors, quiet ones, about Anna's temper, about how hard she was to work with, about how she cried too much on set, and slowly, the next wave of pressure began. Casting directors started calling the studio, questioning Anna's name on the lead sheet. Magazines began writing cryptic articles about Keanu's risky co-star. Even the funding for the project started to wobble. But Keanu didn't back down. He gave interviews where he praised Anna's dedication. He posted behind-the-scenes photos with her, laughing and rehearsing lines. He told the world, without ever saying it directly, that Anna belonged. One night, after a long shoot, Anna received a note slipped under her trailer door. It was handwritten. You don't belong here. Stop pretending you're a star. Everyone sees through you. She sat on the floor holding the note for a long time. Her chest tightened. The words echoed the deepest fears she had always hidden. Then, there was a knock. It was Keanu. You okay? He asked. She handed him the note, read it, his jaw tightening. Come with me, he said. They walked back to set. The crew was still packing up. Keanu asked for everyone's attention. He held up the note without naming names. This, he said, is what cowards do. And if anyone thinks this will break her, you don't know her. Anna is here because she earned it. And if you think otherwise, you can leave. No one moved. Anna stood beside him. For the first time, she didn't feel like a burden. She didn't feel like a name on a contract. She felt seen, and she knew. The fight wasn't over. Not yet, but she wasn't alone in it anymore. The secret tapathy, third week of shooting had begun. The air on set was thick with tension, but also laced with something new resolve. Every glance, every gesture carried unspoken support for Anna. Even those who had once hesitated now stood. A little closer, they had seen the truth in her eyes and the strength in her silence. And they were starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, this film was going to be something more than just another title. Keanu had been quieter than usual. It's not cold, just focused. Behind every scene he acted in, there was an undercurrent of determination. He wasn't just playing a role anymore. He was protecting a message. A promise Dada noticed during a break between scenes. They sat together near the edge of the set, drinking tea from paper cups. The sky above them was clouded, casting a dull light over everything. Still, it felt peaceful. You're carrying. Too much, Anna said softly. Keanu looked at her. So are you. Yeah. She smiled faintly. But you already saved me twice. Maybe I return the favor now, he chuckled, the sound low and rare. Deal. But even as they shared that moment, something darker was brewing across the street, in a nearby production trailer. Thomas, the agent who stayed behind after Leela's removal, was meeting with a man wearing a studio visitor badge. They sat, huddled over a laptop, voices low. I have something, the visitor said, sliding a flash drive onto the table. Audio. One of the crew recorded her. Without her knowing, Thomas narrowed his eyes. What kind of audio? We're crying in the dressing room, talking to herself, saying she's not good enough, saying she should quit. Perfect. Thomas whispered. You really think it'll work? Absolutely. Release it anonymously. Frame it as a breakdown. Public sympathy turns into concern. Producers panic. And poof, she's gone. They didn't realize someone else was watching. Carla, the lighting technician, has been grabbing equipment outside the trailer when she caught part of the conversation through the window. She didn't hear it all. But what she did hear chilled her. She waited until they left the trailer. Then, she slipped in quietly, scanned the desk, and found the flash drive. Heart pounding, she pocketed it and walked out, pretending like nothing had happened. Later that night, Carla knocked on Anna's trailer. Anna opened the door, looking surprised. Carla?
I need to show you something.
They sat on the small couch inside the trailer. Carla plugged the flash drive into Anna's laptop. They listened together. Anna heard her own voice, soft, broken, recorded without her knowing. Out. The moment played back from a few nights ago, when she thought she was alone. Her tears, her doubts, every raw word. Anna covered her mouth with her hand. I remember this, she whispered. They were going to leak it, Carla said. Twist it against you. Anna nodded slowly, wiping her eyes. I should have known. You can't let them win. Nena reached for her phone. She called Keanu when he arrived. He listened to the recording in silence. Then he looked at Carla. You did the right thing. They'll know I took it, Carla said. I could lose my job. Not if we bring this out first, Keanu said. If we own it, they lose power. The next morning, Keanu posted a short message on his official page. It read, Actors are human. Emotions don't make us weak. They make us real. Someone tried to shame Anna for being honest in private, but I've never been more proud of her. This is what strength looks like. Attached was a clip from the audio, just 20 seconds, not the part where Anna broke. The part where she found herself again. But I'll keep showing up, even if I'm scared. Even if they want me gone, I'll keep showing up. The internet exploded. Fans rushed to support Anna. Celebrities reposted the clip, praising her vulnerability. Hashtags trended for days. The hashtag #IStandWithAnna filled the comment sections. Even critics who once doubted her wrote public apologies, and suddenly, the story changed. Anna wasn't the problem. She was the voice of everyone who ever doubted themselves, and kept going anyway. But not everyone celebrated. Thomas panicked. His plan had backfired. He tried to blame the assistant, then the crew. But the studio had seen enough. He was removed quietly. And the producers, once silent, finally addressed the truth. They called Anna and Keanu into a private meeting. The head producer looked ashamed. "We failed you, both of you. We let pressure cloud our judgment." Anna sat still, her face calm. "What now?" "We want to offer you full creative input," the producer said. "Editorial control, script decisions, casting suggestions. We want you to finish this film your way." Keanu raised an eyebrow. "All of that? Because of one post?" The producer shook his head. "Because of what it revealed. We don't need another glossy film. We need truth. And you two are living it." For a while, Anna said nothing. Then she asked for something no one expected. "I want to meet the girl they brought in to replace me," she said. "Lila?" The producer asked. "Yes, not to fight, just to talk." They arranged it. Lila met Anna at a quiet cafe 2 days later. No cameras. No managers. "Just two women. I didn't know they were going to fire you," Lila said. "They told me it was already decided." Anna nodded. "I believe you, but next time." Before. Lila looked down. "I was desperate. I've been in this business 6 years and barely got a role." Anna reached across the table. "You don't have to win by someone else losing. You're better than that." Lila's eyes welled up. "I'm sorry." They parted without anger, just understanding. Sometimes the worst fights weren't loud, were quiet, internal, invisible, but they still left bruises. Back on set, the final week of filming began. This time, the crew moved with a sense of purpose, like they were part of something bigger than a movie, like they were making history. Keanu and Anna filmed the climax scene in intense moment of forgiveness between their characters. When the director called cut, no one moved. The silence was thick with emotion. Some were crying. Others just stared. "We got it," the director whispered. "We really got it." And somewhere deep inside Anna, the fear she had carried for years began to melt away. She didn't just survive Hollywood, she changed it. The awards and the Whispers film, wrapped with quiet applause and a long group hug that seemed to last forever. No fireworks, no loud parties. Just deep breath after deep breath, like everyone on set had been holding it in for weeks. The pressure. It was gone now, but the memory of it still lingered. Anna sat in her trailer, staring at the final call sheet. Her name was there, in bold, not scratched out, not faded. She traced her finger over it and smiled. Keanu knocked once and stepped in. "Ready?" She turned around. "I think so." They walked out into the open together, past the trucks and the quiet crew. The sun had started to rise behind the hills, painting everything gold. Anna turned to him. "Do you think people will really watch it?" He looked at her. "They won't just watch it, they'll feel it." And he was right. Within a month, the first trailer was released. It wasn't flashy, no explosions, no fast cuts. Just soft piano music and raw dialogue. The final moment in the trailer was a single shot of Anna sitting alone on the hospital floor, whispering, "I'm still here." That line became a phenomenon. People around the world began sharing stories of survival, using the phrase as a symbol. "I'm still here" started trending. Social media lit up with messages from nurses, single parents, teachers, and even teenagers going through quiet struggles. Interviews poured in, but Keanu and Anna didn't go to every talk show. They chose carefully, the interviews that respected the story. Only hosts who listened. During one appearance, a host leaned in and asked Anna, "Did you ever think you'd be replaced again after that scandal?" Anna paused. She could have smiled it off, could have joked, but instead she said, "I did think about it every day. But then someone reminded me that silence is sometimes louder than applause." Keanu looked at her proudly, not just as a co-star, not just as a friend, but as someone who had watched her rise from ashes without making anyone else burned. But not everyone celebrated her. A well-known critic wrote a blog post titled, "The Myth of Ana de Armas." It claimed the whole story of her being replaced, leaked, and defended was manufactured for publicity. It said her tears were scripted, yet that Keanu had agreed to a plan from the start. The post went viral. Quickly, suddenly, doubt returned. Not from those closest to the film, but from the public. Some called it manipulation. Others said it was just smart marketing. Anna read the article alone, sitting on the floor of her apartment. The words weren't new, but they still stung. You're not talented, just lucky. Keanu made you relevant. Without him, you'd be invisible. She didn't cry. She didn't reply. She just closed her laptop and walked to her window, staring at the city below. Keanu called that night. You saw it. Yeah, she said quietly. It's lies, I know, but they're loud lies. Then we'll be louder. But Anna didn't want to fight back with noise. Not this time. She wanted the truth to speak for itself. So she made a choice. She released a video. No makeup, no lighting crew, just her, sitting on her couch with a handwritten note in her lap. This isn't a performance, she said. This is me. Been told I wasn't enough since the day I came here. I've been replaced, doubted, silenced, but I'm still here. And if being honest about my journey makes people uncomfortable, I'm okay with that. The video was only 2 minutes. It spread faster than any headline. Even the critic who wrote the blog deleted his post without explanation, as Oscar season approached. No one could ignore the impact of the film anymore. The studio submitted it in multiple categories: Best Actor, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Screenplay. And then something unexpected happened. Anna got a letter. Not from the Academy, from someone else. A woman named Alina, in her 60s, from a small village. She had watched the film with her granddaughter and wrote, I've never left my country. I've never acted. But when you cried in that scene, I remembered losing my sister. You didn't pretend. You lived it. Thank you for reminding me that. Even broken people can be beautiful. Anna cried for a long time after reading that because that was the award she didn't expect. A week later, nominations were announced. Anna was nominated for Best Actress. Keanu was nominated for Best Actor. The film itself was up for Best Picture. No one said it aloud, but something was changing in Hollywood. People were talking more about truth, less about numbers, more about honesty, less about appearances. On the night of the awards, Anna wore a simple dress. No diamonds. No designer logo. Just a necklace her grandmother gave her years ago. Keanu wore a classic black suit and walked the carpet with her. When reporters shouted for flashy poses, they stood quietly, holding hands, smiling. A reporter asked Keanu, Do you think she'll win? He looked at Anna and said, She already did. Inside the theater, tension filled the room as names were called. Then the moment came, and the Oscar for Best Actress goes to Ana de Armas. Crowd erupted. Anna stood slowly, tears in her eyes. Keanu hugged her tight before she walked to the stage. She looked out at the audience, then down at the golden statue in her hands. This isn't just for me, she said. This is for everyone who was ever told they were replaceable, who cried alone, who almost gave up. I didn't win because I was perfect. I won because I stayed. The applause that followed wasn't loud. It was powerful, because it came from the heart. But later that night, while the world celebrated, Anna sat alone backstage, holding her award. Keanu found her there. You did it, he whispered. She looked at him. I'm scared of what? This is all a dream. That tomorrow they'll forget again. Keanu sat beside her. Let them forget. We won't, and that's what matters. The camera caught them from a distance. No script, no pose. Just two souls sitting close, surrounded by golden lights and quiet hope. What they didn't know was that far away. In a small studio, a group of young filmmakers watched that moment over and over, inspired, encouraged, because they saw something more than fame. They saw what it meant to fight quietly and to win. The silence before the storms, weeks after the awards, felt like a dream that didn't end. Anna's face was everywhere, magazines, talk shows, billboards in cities she'd never even been to. People smiled at her on the street, whispered her name in cafes, and little girls approached her, saying things like, You make me want to be brave. And still she felt alone sometimes, not because she was truly alone, but because success came with its own kind of weight. Every word she spoke was now watched. Every dress she wore was judged. Every glance was analyzed. It wasn't just fame. Anymore? It was scrutiny. One morning, she sat at her kitchen table with a bowl of cereal going soggy and unread emails stacked like towers on her phone. Her award was on a shelf nearby. It glimmered quietly but didn't speak. Keanu came over that afternoon, holding 2 paper bags of food and a movie DVD he thought she needed to see. It was an old black and white film raw, simple, beautiful. They watched it in silence on her couch, eating noodles and sitting barefoot like it was any other day. Halfway through, Anna said softly, "I missed before all this." Keanu didn't ask what she meant. He knew. Before the award, before the spotlight, before the expectations. He nodded. "You want to disappear for a while?" She looked at him. "Is that allowed for us?" "Maybe not, but we'll do it anyway." So they did. They vanished for 10 days. No cameras, no headlines, no makeup. Just 2 friends in a rented cabin near a quiet lake, where the only sound was water against the shore. And birds in the trees. They cooked simple meals. They read books. Anna painted small pictures on scraps of paper, and Keanu played soft songs on a broken guitar he found in the shed. On the 6th night, as rain tapped gently on the roof, Anna opened up. "When I was replaced," she said, staring into the fire, "I felt like I was nothing." Keanu didn't interrupt. "But when you stood up for me, it wasn't just about saving my job. It made me believe that maybe I was more than just someone waiting to be picked." He looked at her. "You were never just waiting. You were always meant to be here. What if it all goes away?" she whispered. He leaned forward. "Then we start again. Not because we have to, but because we can." They sat in that quiet moment for a long time. No scripts, no crew, just firelight and truth. When they returned to the world, things had changed, but not in the way they expected. Rumors started to spread, vicious ones. Someone had leaked a fake script draft with claims that Anna demanded changes to make her character more important. Others said Keanu was refusing to work with certain directors unless Anna was cast to it. It was the same trick again, divide them, break them, and the worst parts, some people started to believe it. Magazine covers asked cruel questions. Is Anna too powerful now? Is Keanu blinded by loyalty? Anna tried to laugh it off in interviews, but behind the smile, it hurt. It was like being back at the beginning, over again. One night she got a call from her manager. "There's a film offer," he said. "Huge one, big director. But they want to cast you without Keanu, and they asked if you'd be open to distancing yourself a little, just for image." Anna was quiet. "They think you're too tied to him," the manager added, "that you're a pair, not an individual." She hung up without answering. A few minutes later, she texted Keanu, "Can we talk?" He came over without hesitation. They sat on the floor of her living room, just like they had so many times before. "They want me to step away from you," she said. Keanu stayed calm. "And what do you want?" "I don't know," she admitted. "I want to grow, do my own work. But not like this. Not because they think you're holding me back." He nodded. "Then tell the truth." "What if the truth isn't enough this time?" He smiled gently. "It will be. Because this time, you're the one who gets to stand up." So she did. The next day, Anna posted a letter online. It's not a polished press statement. It's just a quiet message. "From her heart, they told me to distance myself from someone who stood by me when no one else would. They said my name is too connected to his. But here's the truth. I'm not small because I walk beside someone strong. I am not less because I value loyalty. And I will not rise by stepping away from the people who helped me stand in the first place." It broke the internet again, not with noise, not with rage, but with honesty. Fans from all over began sharing stories of their own. People who had been told to walk alone, to act selfish, to be louder than everyone else. But Anna's message reminded them that kindness wasn't weakness, that standing together wasn't failure, and then came the twist no one expected. The studio behind the big film reached out publicly. They apologized. They asked both Anna and Keanu to join the project Dash together. In a time when Hollywood often fed on division, Anna had turned the spotlight toward unity, and the world noticed. But behind the scenes, something deeper was brewing. A journalist, Shung, eager and honest, had been digging. He discovered messages between Thomas and several executives from the earlier scandal. Not only had they tried to sabotage Anna, but they had planned the replacement before the first rehearsal even began. It had been a setup, and now the truth was about to go public. Anna read the report before it was published. The journalist offered her a chance to respond first. She asked Keanu what to do. "Do you want them exposed?" he asked. "Yes," she said, "but not to hurt them. Just so it never happens to someone else again." So the article went live. It revealed everything. The replacement, the leaked script, the secret recording, even the planted rumors. It was messy, uncomfortable, real, and it shook Hollywood. People resigned, others apologized. Some disappeared from the industry quietly, but most importantly, young actors finally saw what was possible when someone refused. To break, Anna wasn't just a star anymore. She was a symbol, and Keanu. He remained by her side, not as a protector, not as a shield, but as a friend who had helped her find the fire she always had inside. One night, just before their new film's first day of shooting, Anna stood in front of a mirror, no makeup. Number. Cameras, she smiled, because this time, she wasn't afraid. She didn't need permission. She had already proven that she belonged. The final Sanith set of the new film felt different from any Anna had been on before. Not because it was bigger or flashier, it wasn't. The difference was in the air. In the way the crew looked at her, in the way the director welcomed her, not just as an actress, but as a creative equal. And maybe, most of all, in the way she stood, taller now, not just physically, but emotionally. This film was about a woman who had lost her voice in a world that tried to shape her. It was fiction. But for Anna, every line echoed truth. She didn't just memorize her part. She lived it, breathed it, and beside her, as always, was Keanu. This time, though, he wasn't leading her. He was walking with her. On the first day of shooting, the director pulled them aside. "I just want to thank you both," he said, "not for being stars, but for making it possible for others like you to step forward." Anna and Keanu exchanged a glance, quiet and full of history. This wasn't just a film, it was a statement. One of the final scenes they were scheduled to shoot took place in a crowded train station. Their characters were supposed to meet again after years apart, older, changed, tired from the world, but still holding on to a deep, silent love. They rehearsed the scene once. The lighting was perfect. Extras moved like clockwork. Everything was in place. But when the camera rolled, something strange happened. Anna stepped into the frame and paused, not because she forgot her line, but because, for a moment, she saw herself, not the character herself. Years ago, nervous, anxious, scared of being cut, of being replaced, and now she stood here, still vulnerable, still emotional. Fearless, the tears in her eyes weren't scripted, and when Keanu entered the scene and looked at her, something broke open between them. He whispered his line, "I never stopped waiting." Anna responded, voice trembling, "I never stopped walking." The director let the scene run longer than planned. No one called cut. No one needed to. It was perfect. After the take, the entire crew stood silently for a few seconds, then burst into quiet applause. Anna stepped away from the camera, her heart racing. Keanu met her near the monitors and wrapped her in a hug, not the kind for show, it's the kind that says we made it. That night, as they walked out of the studio together, Keanu asked, "How do you feel?" Anna thought for a second, then answered, "Free." They stopped by a small diner on the edge of the city, an old spot Keanu loved. With no paparazzi and terrible coffee that somehow tasted like home, they sat in a corner booth, laughing over nothing and everything. Then Anna pulled out a small notebook. She slid it across the table. "What's this?" Keanu asked. "My first journal," she said. "From when I moved to Hollywood, I wrote down every audition, every rejection, every time I cried in the bathroom." Double quotes. Keanu opened it gently. The pages were filled with scribbled notes. tear stains, and hopeful quotes. "Why are you showing me this?" he asked. "Because I want to start something," she said. "A foundation for new actors, especially women. A place where they're protected, where they don't have to be afraid, and I want you to help me run it." Keanu smiled. "You're building a lighthouse." Maybe she nodded, but not for me. For all the ones still lost in the storm. So they did. Months passed. The film was released. Critics called it haunting, moving, unforgettable. But more than that, people said it felt honest. At the premiere, Anna wore a dress designed by a student artist. No brand name, no glitter, just hand-stitched fabric and a small sunflower pinned to the side. It was quiet, powerful. On the red carpet, when asked if she thought she'd win another award, Anna simply said, "I already did when I didn't. Give up." And Keanu, standing beside her, smiled like he always did. Like someone who had watched a seed turn into a forest. The foundation they built together, called Still Here, grew faster than anyone expected. Young artists from around the world wrote letters, shared stories, found the courage to tell their truths. Anna would visit the center once a week. No cameras, just her, sitting with the newcomers, reading lines, sharing mistakes, and reminding them that falling doesn't mean failing. One evening, after a small workshop, a young girl named Maya approached her. "Miss Anna," she said shyly, "can I tell you something?" Of course, Anna smiled. "My teacher told me I talked too soft to be on stage," Maya said. "But when I saw your movie, I thought, maybe soft voices can still be heard." Anna knelt down, held her hand, and whispered, "The softest voices are often the ones that stay with us the longest." The girl nodded, eyes wide with belief. As Anna watched her walk away, something settled deep in her chest. Peace. Not the loud, triumphant kind. The quiet kind that comes from knowing you've turned pain into purpose years later. As the industry evolved, people often asked how it all began. This shift toward kinder storytelling. Honest casting, safer spaces for artists, and the answer always pointed back to a moment when one woman was replaced and one man refused to act without her, in the end. It wasn't just about a scene. It was about showing the world that standing together isn't weakness. It's strength, and weak and weak. That sometimes the most powerful stories don't start with fame. They start with someone whispering, "I'm still here."